If you've been thinking about taking your first solo train trip, but are a little hesitant, that's completely understanding. It can be a bit daunting at first, but once you take that first step, you will find it very freeing. And you'll also discover strengths about yourself that you didn't even know you had. In this video, I'm going to walk you through the steps that I recommend to prepare you for your first solo train trip. It will especially help those that are new to being solo and that might be a bit on the introverted side, like myself. So there are two approaches that you can take for your first solo train trip. You can simply dive right into the deep end, plan a big grand adventure, and just go for it. Or you can ease yourself into it. And my steps are for those who want to ease themselves into it and get comfortable doing things solo, especially going to new places by yourself and doing stuff that you normally would not do as a solo person. Step one is simple. Get used to doing things by yourself. So I suggest taking a lunch or going to dinner at a restaurant. And I'm not talking about going through a drive-through somewhere and taking the food back to your house, but going inside, sitting down, and eating. Now, you can take a book to read while you eat, or just take a pen and notebook, so you can jot down ideas of where you might want to take your first solo train trip and what you want to do while you're there. Another thing that I recommend that you do is go to a nearby museum. Maybe if they offer it, take a museum tour. So that way you're used to doing tour groups as a solo person, or just stroll around the museum by yourself. And another place is to go to a movie by yourself. So the goal of this step is just to get you used to being out in public and doing things as a solo person. So step two is planning a short trip. I recommend anywhere from 1 to 3 days. So of course, saying 1 day just means you're going to be taking a day trip somewhere on the train. I am fortunate that I live here in San Antonio, so I could jump on the Texas Eagle and take it somewhere to where the same day I could jump on it and come back to San Antonio and arrive back in the evening. Of course, you can still take a day trip on the train, but still take 2 days for the trip and have an overnight somewhere where you fly to a destination. Maybe you want to go to Denver and just take a short train trip from Denver to Glenwood Springs, spend the night in Glenwood Springs, explore, and then take the train back to Denver. There's a lot of choices that you can take, and really just almost any route to where you're not staying overnight on the train, but you just want to take the ride just to see what it's like before you commit spending the night on the train. But you may want to go ahead and take that step and book an overnight train. Let's take a look at planning a trip by using Amtrak.com. We're going to go to Plan and then click on Explore All Routes to see all of Amtrak's routes. If you scroll down the page, you can look at all of them. For this first sample, we're going to use the Mardi Gras service. You can click on where it says Map and see the different stations that it stops. You can look at the schedule to see the departing and arriving times, whether it's going east or west to east. You can also go in and scroll down the page and look at the menus. So they have a cafe car menu here, and there's one specialized for the Mardi Gras, like a muffaletta sandwich. And you can also look at the accommodations. So this is not a sleeper train, so you can either select business class seats or coach class seats for this route. Now let's go and look at another route. So we're going to look at a sleeper car train, and let's click on the California Zephyr. Again, you can look at the map and you can see all the stations. Now over on the left-hand side, you can click on the state and expand and see the routes, the train stations that way. You can look at the schedule, and you can see all of the different stations and the departing and arrival times. Again, you can scroll down the page and look at the accommodations. So you see the sleeper car options here, and you can look at the dining, and this route has their traditional dining service. Once you do all of that and you decided where you want to go, you can go back up to plan, and I like to use the trip planning map. Here you can see all the routes laid out across the US, but we're going to type in Denver, select it. We want to go to Glenwood Springs, Colorado, and select it. Click on Find Routes. It'll tell you the best route to go, which is the California Zephyr. You can look at Find Fares, and here you can go through and select some dates. So we're going to do a round trip. We're going to leave on a Thursday. We're going to take the train, and it should be about 6 hours. We'll just do coach seats. We'll get to Glenwood Springs. We'll spend a couple of nights in Glenwood Springs and explore the area, and then get back on the train and head back to Denver and then back to our home. But this is just an idea of what you can do if you don't do an overnight train route. Step 3 is optional exploring. Of course, riding Amtrak, riding the train is the journey itself. It can be the destination and the journey all rolled up into one. And once you get to the end of the route, you can hop on a plane or a car or a bus or however you want to get back home. But you can also decide that you want to do a little exploring in one of the cities or towns. I use the Viator app to help me set up guided tours or even self-guided tours. I prefer the small group walking tours, but there are so many different things that you can do. But if you don't want to be around other people, you can just go out on your own and explore, and maybe do one of the self-guided tours where it just tells you where to go and gives you some information that you can listen to over a headset. Solo train travel isn't about the destination. It's discovering who you are when you allow yourself to do so. If you found this video helpful, please give it a like, subscribe, and share it with someone that you know might want to take their first solo train trip, but are a little bit hesitant. Thank you for watching. This is Soloing Alone.